Hello everyone, this is my second video, and what I wanted to cover here, I'll try to be quick, a little quicker than last time, is the Bible and Christianity compared to other religions, and why Christianity is different in the Bible compared to other religions, where a lot of people I've heard try to tell me that all the religions are the same and that there's not really a difference. They all kind of lead to the same place, but that is not true. So let me explain it, and I'm going to try to be really simple, and I'm not going to read verses, and I'm not going to be too technical with dates and times. Just going to kind of give you a general idea what the difference are, just to save time, and just because I don't want to look up all those facts to the details. So if you want to look into what I'm talking about, if you really want to, go ahead, or you can take my word for it. But everything I've studied, and from my conclusion, this is where I've come to. Number one, you can look at just looking at these books, Buddhism and Jainism and Taoism. These are a little more ancient religions, and when you look at these in a nutshell, a majority of these religions are trying to explain just outside of the physical realm, that there is something more there. They have to do with your behavior, kind of cause and effect. If you're a good person, then you'll have good in your life, and trying to explain, just trying to explain things, but not super clear in the end. When you go through, I think you're still not totally clear why we're here, and it's not 100% explanation of things. So these religions, I think, still leave man feeling short, that there's something still more. And a lot of I think it has to do with your behavior and trying to be a better person, which a lot of people think Christianity is about, but I'm going to show you it's not. Okay, that's number one. Those religions, and there's not really a complete revelation there. Then we come up to some more modern religions like Islam, which Muhammad, he was in a cave, and an angel came down to him supposedly and told him to write something down. And the things he wrote down, one guy, is the Quran, and this is what kind of brought the Muslims together and the religion that they follow. So this religion is not the same as Christianity, because it was one person, and in the Quran, actually, there's a lot of the Bible copied, and there's some stories from the Bible that changed a little. So the Bible was before the Quran, way before the Quran. The Quran is not that old, actually. Maybe 1600 or so. So couple hundred, not too long ago, 500 years or less ago, is when that was the Quran. Okay. Then the Book of Mormon, the Mormons, Joseph Smith. This was also this was a couple hundred years ago. The Quran's a little older. Book of Mormon is a couple hundred years old. Joseph Smith was in America, and what he believes, the Book of Mormon, is that some of the people from the Bible that were building the Tower of Babel, when they got scattered, some of them came to America, and then also there were some Jews in about 600 before Christ, 600 years before Christ, when they were they were captured and went to Babylon. The Jews, some of them escaped and came to America. Okay, or they left and came to America, and there was a couple tribes, some bad tribes, some good tribes. Eventually the tribes warred, and Jesus, when he resurrected, he came to Americas and talked to one of these tribes, and all this was recorded by someone from these people and buried. And Joseph Smith found it in New York, these tablets buried in his backyard, and an angel led him to there and dug them up. And if I'm not totally accurate on the facts, then in a nutshell, this is what happened. And Moroni, or an angel, came and told him, to find the tablets, and on the tablets he translated them, and that was the Book of Mormon. Okay, and part of there's a little more to it, but in a nutshell. And this was also way after the Bible as well. Some of the Bible is copied in that book. Okay, so also one guy, and through time, from my understanding, some things have changed from those books. They've had some change. So compared to the Bible, now one thing, the Bible, and there's probably a lot more other religions, Jehovah's Witnesses, and a lot of different ones. I can get into those maybe in a different video. I'm just trying to be in a nutshell. The difference, Christianity and the Bible. Why is the Bible different? The Bible now has many authors in a long period of time. Okay, from thousands and thousands of years ago all the way up till maybe 2,000 years ago when the apostles were around. Okay, and that book was put together, and through time, you know, the Jews had part of it, and then during the apostles' times, it was Jews who became Christians, and then those manuscripts were handed down, and eventually we came up with a book in around 300 AD, and that book was the Bible. Okay, it made its way to becoming one book. So a lot of articles didn't make it, and some did make it. So, and when you look at the Bible, from the beginning to end, there's a central thought and a central revelation and a complete revelation of what God has, His purpose for man. All right. So you look at some of the ancient Egyptian Coptics, texts and things. You may see about, God becoming a man, different kind of thoughts, but nothing complete. So here's what I ask: if God is real, which I believe He is, just by looking around, it's like it's hard to say God's not. Even if there was a Big Bang or something like that. Someone's told me, I like that explanation, that the Big Bang, if you read a science, read about it, it's showing that the Earth is expanding. Which they say means that there was a bang and like a grenade or something explodes out, and that's why they say it's a proof of a Big Bang. So my question is though, is if there was a bang, who lit the fuse? Right? Even if there's multiple realms and universes and all these different things, that's fine, but who's at the top? Who started everything? People say you can't have something out of nothing. There had to be the beginning of something. So we believe that's God. Whatever that is, that's God. Now, if God exists, and people who are atheists, I think that's, to me, I can't understand someone saying they're atheist, because an atheist is saying that they say there's no God. How can you prove there's no God? It's impossible. He could live in the middle of the sun. We don't know. We really can't say there is no God. So an agnostic, to me, makes a little more sense. You don't know. But I would say, yeah, to me it's obvious that there's God. Looking at human beings, we were designed, okay? The way we're made. It wasn't an accident. Just like if you found a watch on the floor, you wouldn't pick it up and say, oh, the wind must have blew this thing together, and a spark of light, and it must have. No, you find a watch on the floor, you look at it, and you go, man, there must have been a designer behind this. It's practically, makes sense the way it fits on my wrist. There's thought behind it. There's creativity even behind it. The color, everything. You look at a human being, there's creativity behind us. There's thought behind us. We were made, we were made with a purpose. Even we were not an accident. We were created. So, if that's the case, then there's a God, then does He want to show Himself to us? Does He want to unveil Himself to us? Does He want to, let us know who He is and what He wants from us? I do believe yes. So looking at all the religions, I've studied all of them, and I've come to the conclusion that the only one that really has a complete divine revelation that was not copied, and that has enough people that put in that they all back each other up, compared to one person copying someone else's religion. That can be a little easier. Whereas these people who have, through generations, God has been real to them and has shown Himself to different people, and it's been manuscript, it's been recorded, and these recordings all together are the Bible. And they all don't contradict each other. They all, from the beginning to the end. Now, the difference between, also looking at the Book of Mormon, archaeological proof is not there, okay? If you want to look it up, it's true. And they would try to tell you, so there's all these different Indian tribes and all these different ones from that were in America, these Jews, not there. None of these wars, there's no proof. There's no archaeological proof at all. So even their own archaeologists have said we don't have any proof. But they would try to say, well, you can't prove that certain things in the Bible that happen. You can't prove. Whereas the majority of the things you can prove. The archaeological proof of the Bible is accurate. There's kings, and there's different cities, and there's different a lot of things that are discovered in real life that are in the Bible. You can go over to the Mediterranean Sea, and there's tons of stuff there that is proven, that's from the Bible. Whereas the Book of Mormon, they don't have any proof at all, archaeological proof. So, but they would say, well, some of the things in the Bible can't be proven. So it's the same thing. That's not the same thing. To me, it's like saying, the Earth is flat. Eventually, we discovered it wasn't flat. So does that mean all science is wrong just because at one thing they had not totally discovered the true fact of it? No. Whereas the Book of Mormon, I would have to say it's like Santa Claus it's just not real. Okay, it's a little different. Once you find out Santa Claus is real, you find out the whole thing was just kind of was a story. It was kind of made up. So sorry, but that's just, to me, there is a difference. The Quran, same thing. A lot of these, it's about being a good, being a good person, so God doesn't squash you, doing all these rituals and these different things, to be a good Muslim and to please God and to get favor with God. That's kind of the book of the Quran. I've read a lot of the Quran and a lot of the Book of Mormon. So a lot of the things I'm telling you is from reading documentaries, watching documentaries, reading books, and reading these books myself. The history in the Bible, a lot of historical facts all happen. A lot of historians cite the Bible, and they use the Bible to, prove their historical proofs and facts. So the history, archaeological proof of the Bible, prophecies. Whereas the Book of Mormon, same thing. They said that, certain prophecies that Joseph Smith made up, and then they didn't come true, so they changed things, and the Bible says if a prophet, in Deuteronomy 20, if a prophet is wrong once, he is not a prophet. So the Bible claims a prophecy. All the things about Jesus, all these things that were written before Jesus, they have, the manuscripts of the Old Testament that prophesied about Jesus were written, and we could see during Jesus' times, they quote stuff from the Old Testament, and a lot of the prophecies that came true, it's like me telling you, if you say God's not true, and then I said, well, if God's true, then you're gonna, run up the stairs in 1 minute, and you can control that, so you just wouldn't run up the stairs because you're trying to prove God's not real. There's prophecies where, like, people who didn't want to prove God was real, played a part in making these prophecies come true. Why would they do that? Like when the Romans split the tunic. The Romans don't want to prove Jesus is real, but this was one of the prophecies. It says that they didn't split it. They gambled for it because there's no seam was supposed to be ripped in his when he was crucified in his garment, and he was not supposed to get any bones broke. The Bible said. So why would the Romans not break his bones? They should have broke his bones, but they speared him instead. So anytime someone got crucified, they're supposed to get their legs broken, but the Bible said not a bone will be broken in his body. So different things like that, and there's a lot more. Even things that the Jews who were trying to disprove he was the Messiah, they did things that proved he was the Messiah. So prophecies. Also, when looking at the Bible, looking at the Book of Mormon, the Quran, some of these other religions, the central thought is be a good person, have good behavior. God will, try to make God happy with you. Even the religions in India, with all the different gods and stuff, they have tons of gods. Everything's okay. Even Jesus is okay. And in the Hinduism, same with that. It's just not really that clear what is. It's just try to make God happy, hurt yourself, do all sorts of things, whatever you have to do to make God happy and bless you on this earthly life. Where that's not what the Bible says. Looking at these books too, if a man wrote